I wake up to the same old fight, chasing shadows in the night. Promises made, but I let them fade. Caught in the cycle, I'm feeling betrayed. Round and round, I'm losing ground. Trying to break free, but I can't see. These negative patterns are haunting me. Nights turn to days, I'm losing my way. Thought I found peace, but it's led me astray. Chasing the high, but it only brings pain. The more I run, the less I gain.
Hey everybody, hey, and welcome to another session of Tarka Said Again. And today with us, we have a special guest, Mr. 225 Custom Hats himself. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. And you know, I wanted to get you in here because I consider you a creative. Your style, all of that is fashion, is art. And I want to sit down and talk with you, see what you could tell us and how this, of course, got started. Give me a little bit about you first and how it got started.
Well, first, I want to say thank you for having me. Thank you for the
Yes.
consideration. Our initial intention was to start a custom shoe line. And
Okay.
I wanted to do custom shoes. And I reached out to a friend of mine in Richmond, Virginia, Cowden. And his advice, I think, was stellar because he said, don't do that. And my idea was to do a hard bottom shoe where today you have more casual shoes with suits than you find, like a hard or standard shoe. So that idea was out because I wanted to do a hard bottom and a standard, but I wanted to give it some style and flair. So it was a good
Right.
idea, but the timing of it wasn't good. So uh, at at that time, I cut my hair bald, and like most guys, when we start to lose our hair or either cut our hair bald, we want to replace it with something. Whether like in New
Mhm.
York, a lot of guys wear the bald caps or the fedoras, and that's what I was doing. I was the beard, the fedoras. It was working for me, and everywhere I went, folks were like, "Man, who did your hat?" And one day, a friend girl of mine was like, "I know where you can buy some of those hats wholesale." So it wasn't the quality of where we are today, but what we started with carried us to where we are today. So I was thankful for somebody else's idea to say, "Hey, you know what? Let's get some of these at wholesale," and that's where we started it, and it grew to where we are now.
Well, I can't forget that, yes, he did this hat for me. You see the feather and all of that going on around here, the trim.
Yeah, that's
Thank
that's a
you.
great straw hat, and you wear it well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate. Do you customize anything else besides fedoras?
Well, we do jackets as well, something I was
Okay.
doing long before hats. I've always been into clothes and fashion since middle school. So we also do we have an idea for jackets, and I know we'll get this to at some point, but 2255 customers at IG, you'll see we make a lot of jackets. And man, our concept is to bring some beauty into this world. If you can think it, we can create it, just be
I
beautiful.
know that's
Be
right.
the beauty, and that's what
I know that's
that's our
right.
concentration.
Okay. How do you want people to feel when they put on one of your hats?
Man, we want
What
you
are
to
some?
feel beautiful. Our goal, I would say in my personal life, be who you want everybody else to be. So our
Okay.
goal is really to create some beauty, man. That's our mantra. To bring some beauty into this world, one customized fedora at a time. And our name 2255 actually means be ever wonderful. It also means double blessings as well. Be the greatness that you want to see in this world. Everybody has their part to play. And we just want to play the part of beauty. That's our goal, beauty, and we want you to feel good. And hats are our vibe. The doors are our vibe.
Right.
So when you put it on,
Right.
man, I see sometimes people put our hats on and they light up. I put on other companies' hats, and I see the energy change, and that's what
A
it's supposed to
confidence
be. Yeah,
booster.
there's definitely an energy that's connected with all fedoras, not just our company, but some other companies as well. And I believe in patronizing other people. If I like it, I'll buy it. Even though I know
Right.
I can create it, I still wanna just be the light. Be who you want everybody else to be. And the more you give, the more you get in return. It's just a caveat of life. So I said, well, why would you patronize another company? You can make it. Well, I do that because it's like the tide. As well as that tide goes out, that tide has to come back in, and you want it to come back in, pressed down, shaking together, and running over. It's just a principle. It's a principle about greatness, but it's more so a principle also about finance. What you give out, you get in return. There's an ahead I've seen you
Mm-hmm.
can't make. And that's
Right.
that's another caveat about life. If one man is doing it, every man can do it. Just not talking it.
Exactly.
Yeah, no big eyes, no little U's. You know what I'm talking about? If one
I
man is
like
doing
that.
it, every man can do it. Give as
You
good
just
as
gotta
you want.
believe.
You better, but yeah, fact. You just got to believe.
Exactly. Make sure you provide us with some type of videos so we can let the people know some of the customizations that you've done, because I know I've witnessed myself where you've added cigars and you've added paintbrushes and
Right.
cards, different things to the person's personality.
Listen, we just started doing the paintbrush thing as an old
Really?
Basquiat. Yeah, interesting story, man. Listen, and for me, when we do that, when we make anything that has Basquiat's art on it, he was, I think it was like 26, 27, died in, I believe, 1985. Sometimes I get my fives and my sevens mixed up. Either he was 25 and died in 1987, or he was
Okay.
27 and died in 1985. But he died of a heroin overdose. He was a great
Mm.
painter. A painter. He was futuristic in his thinking. To date, his highest painting, posthumously, has sold for $110 million. So when I
Oh
think
my.
about, yeah, when I think about all the things that I've gone through in my life, when I put a paintbrush on the hat, and as an honor of him, man, I'm honored to do that. All you got to do is hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Heroin overdose, 1985. To date, his highest painting, $110 million, man. That's greatness. Every man, in spite of, every man possesses the greatness. So in spite of his
Okay.
vicissitudes, his heroin addiction or whatever was going on in that particular moment in time, his greatness was staying forever. And that's what every man should be about. Man, just be about your greatness. And those little
Right.
insignificant things, man, it's just trivial. You know, Heroin addiction, it's trivial because it didn't
Mhm.
dim his greatness. So don't
Right.
let
It
don't don't
continues
let
to
the
live
not so
on.
good moments in time, don't let your not so good moments in time overshadow the greatness that God has instilled in you. And that's what I get when I think about him. So when you see that paintbrush or that paint drip or what have you, note that it's in honor of a man who posthumously persevered. $110 million, boy, for one of his paintings. That's like, that's amazing to me. It's just amazing to me, man. But anyway, yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that story and just thinking about that. And you talking about an actual addiction, right? So, me being an author of addictive patterns, and I always talk about that no matter who I speak with. And addiction or something being addictive, it falls in so many different categories, right? Not
Right.
just your drugs and so on and so forth, just like what you're doing as far as your artistry and your style and putting on clothes, your fashion, that's addictive. And I don't know, did you get it from a family member and it was passed down? You get what I'm saying? So things can be generational. It could be learned. All
Right.
of these things are considered addictive. And so just the fact that you mentioned that, and the message with it was like, don't let it get you down, don't let it stop you, continue, put your best foot forward, thank you,
Right.
and keep going. Yes, you're going to have those setbacks, yes, you're going to have those obstacles that come before you, but what are you going to do with those? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So thank you for pointing that out just in that story.
But I want to
When
comment. I want to say this something because you said something very powerful. Society is our greatest teacher.
hmm
That's why we have to be very considerate about what we allow our children to see. Society is
Yes.
our greatest teacher. And you talking about, an addictiveness and, where I definitely got my style of dress from my father, the tailor-made guy. My mother, I'm going to tell you a story. I've never heard anybody tell a story right here. My mom had an addition built onto her house. You know what that addition
Okay.
was? a walk-in closet.
Wow.
Right. So I get it honestly. Where you were going, that we all have something. It's called a whiskey glass or a woman's ass. That if we
Okay.
don't, yeah, if we don't, man, it's factual. And if we don't get a hold of it or get it disciplined, it can wreck your life, regardless of what it may
Yeah.
be. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so whether we're talking about a Basquiat or there was an interview, man, I thought was so powerful. Bobby Brown. This was in the shadows of Whitney passing. It was his first interview, from my understanding. He was on the Today Show being interviewed by Matt Law, and he said something. He said that Whitney introduced him to crack cocaine
Mm-hmm.
on their honeymoon. You probably know about that. And introduced it to him on his honeymoon. And he said something, and it made me take a look at myself. He said that uh, he had an addictive personality. He tried it and he liked it. And
Mm-hmm.
man, I called one of my best friends, one of my long life best friends, and the things that God kept us from, because I know him as much as I know myself. I know he has an addictive personality. When I called him, I said, man, I just heard something, Doc. And I immediately thought about you and I. We've been friends since we were 5 years old. So I know him. And we both have addictive personalities. And I was very thankful that for the most part, the things that we are addicted to didn't wreck our life, but there were
Mm-hmm.
things, man, about that our addictiveness that most certainly we could have been better disciplined about.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't one of those moments in time where I said, "Oh God, I'm thankful that wasn't me." I was thankful at that moment in time that I could see that the things that he and I were both addicted to didn't derail us. Although there were
Right.
moments in time where we were not disciplined and it held us up.
Right.
You understand what I'm
And it
talking
could
about?
have.
It could have.
Yeah.
You're right about
It
that.
could have.
It could have.
Right.
So, you know, you said a lot. You said a lot in that little bit, man, about what you were saying as far as like what a person can be addicted to. And I think it's not talked about enough. So I
Yeah.
applaud you for your book. It's a great book. Applaud you about your book and the awareness that it brings, because sometimes it takes uh outside of your own mirror. Sometimes it
Yeah.
takes somebody else looking in their mirror and saying, hey, this is what I found in me. And perhaps
Mm-hmm.
what's in me maybe also may be in you. And
Mm-hmm.
give food to thought and get our lives in order and just be the greatest version of ourselves that we can be while we're here. You did. So
Exactly.
thank you for
And that's
your
how
book.
it helps. Thank you. And that's
Yeah.
how, we help others by talking about it, doing what we're doing now.
They say your testimony will set the captives free. That's what the good that's what the good book say. Your testimony will most certainly set the captives free. But go ahead, because I did interrupt you. You were saying.
It's okay. I'm going to just move on with the next question. In creating, I'll say it like that, in creating your hats, what elements do you consider most important when designing? Like, would it be the colors or the material? What do you find being most important for you?
Quality. Quality.
Quality.
Yeah,
Okay.
quality. Quality. I would rather have the design be incorrect than the
Okay.
quality be poor. Yeah, we can always get the design right, which is one of the reasons. Like if somebody orders off of Instagram, I'll always ask them to call me, because so much getting lost in translation when you're typing
Mm-hmm.
or you're texting or you miss a comma. It can throw the entire. So yeah, I'd rather talk to you so I can hear you. Yeah, again, for our company, I would rather our design be where we have to go back and redesign than the quality be poor.
And
And
thinking about a customer's request that you've received throughout the years that you've been in business, what are or what has been, say, the most unique custom request?
oh wow, well, nobody's ever asked me that question.
Really?
What's been the most unique? I
Because,
think the
in
most.
thinking about, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, no, go ahead. I'm listening to you. Go ahead. What you say?
No, I was just gonna say, and thinking about, the different customers and clients that you come in contact with, like which one sticks out.
I think the story that most sticks out is that I had an idea that I wanted to use I wanted to do a Louis Vuitton, right? So
Okay.
I take it. I asked my sister for because she does. My sister does a lot of thrifting. So I
Okay.
asked her, Terry. I asked if she had a Louis Vuitton bag that she could give me because I got this
Okay.
idea, right? And I had taken the bag to like two different places, right? The first place I took it to said they didn't deal in leather, so I had to wind up taking. We got a shoe guy. I take it to a cobbler. So I did have a
Yeah.
shoe guy, and I took it to him, and what happened was I cut the bag, but it needed to be further cut along where I didn't have the materials to cut it the way the bag needed to be cut for the design I had in my mind. So I had to take somewhere
Okay.
else that could further cut the bag. So as I dropped the bag off, and he can do what I needed done because what I was going to do, I wanted to take the handle of the bag along with the material, and I wanted to place it on a hat. That was my concept. And it wound up being award winning. We got an award for that hat, and I was making it for
Okay.
somebody else. Yeah, so it worked out. But here's the moment in time I remember the most about that. As I'm getting ready to leave out, he says, that bag must have been in pretty bad shape. And I said, what are you saying? He said, the bag that you're using, the bag you're using for this hat, it had to be in pretty bad shape. And I was like, no. And I said, it was in pretty good shape because it was.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
he said, wait a minute. You took a real Louis Vuitton bag and you cut it up to to put on that. So I said, well, no. I said, the bag wasn't real. He said, no, this material is real. So he says, let me show you what fake looks like. He had a fake bag that he was repairing.
Okay.
He said, this is
Okay.
fake. What you bought me is real. So,
Uh-oh.
I'm somebody, I try to be peaceful wherever I go. So I'm listening to
Hmm.
what he's saying. I'm not believing what he's saying, but I just say yes, sir, and I leave out of his establishment. So I get in my car and I call my sister. I say, Terry, I said, let me ask you something. That bag you gave me, right? I said, was that bag real? She said, yeah. So I, so I said, well, why in the world would you? I remember this conversation as long as I live. I said, why in the world would you give me a real Louis Vuitton bag to cut up to put on a
Right.
hat? And these words it almost made me start crying. She said, because I believe in you.
I like
And
it.
it it
And
it
that's
it,
it.
it, yeah, it is shaped. It was very if you go back early on into our has early on, it was on my early custom pieces and it stayed with me. And sometimes, and I get emotional talking about that, sometimes I was just starting out. I didn't have the aesthetic that I have today,
Hmm.
which would have made a
Hmm.
lot more sense. We're talking about maybe
Hmm.
like four years ago or so. I'm just starting out. And you gave me a real Louis Vuitton bag. Sometimes, man, it takes somebody seeing a little bit further. That's the connection of the right people being in your life. I can't say I would have given me. Negro, you just starting out. Hell, would I give you what? This would be me to me. Why would I give you an authentic Louis Vuitton bag? You just starting out, but move maybe a little further down the road. Sometimes it takes folks, man, in your life that can see you further down the road.
Right.
Let that be one
Right.
of your prayers, one of your desires. God, place in my life people that can see further for me than I can see for myself. And
Like it.
just a fact,
Exactly.
Jack. Yeah, you're right. That man said that had to be a pretty awful bag. That man would know who the hell would cut up a little.
He just didn't know.
Listen, he was a white guy too, and he just could not. Listen, when I tell you that white boy couldn't wrap his mind around it, that's why he said, no. Let me show you fake. This is
He
fake.
had to let you know.
Yeah, this is real, right? Right now, why the hell would you cut? He couldn't wrap his mind around it. How the hell you cut this real bag up to go on his hat? So it did
I
well for the
think that would be
person.
most unique.
Yeah, it did well for the person who got the hat because that when they wore it, they wanted to get an award for the hat. So
Okay.
Yeah, that'll probably be my most outstanding story,
Hmm.
other than the people God has allowed me to meet along the way. But that story would be the most personal to me because it shows somebody else's vision for me in a time
I
and
like
place
it.
where I think my vision was very limited.
Okay. Well, in summation, what would set your brand apart from others in this fashion and hat industry?
Honest answer, I don't give a damn what nobody else is doing.
Okay.
I'm only concerned with what 2255 is doing. I think
I
we give a
like it.
great product. We do our best to give the best customer service that we can give. I am my only. It's
Competition.
imperative for us to be greater than we were last year. And I think that when you look at our hats over the years, we have a timeline. You know,
Hmm.
when you go as far back as you can on 2255's timeline as it relates to our Instagram, you'll see the progression. That's my concern. Just to be as great as we can be, man. Just to be as great as we can be. And if I'm not great, nothing is great. You know, and guess what? Phonies are revealed all the time.
Hmm.
Phonies are revealed all the time. There are other companies I look at. Here's one, for instance. I love Cosmos Green. I think Cosmos Green is the greatest hat planet on this company. You know, I just don't have the aesthetic that they have as of right now. But they're most certainly a company, man. I wish that we were doing what they were doing. But we're not. We're not Cosmos Green. Regardless of how great I think they are, man, listen, I'm as great as the last hat that we made. And it's intentional, man, that we become greater and greater and greater and greater. That's our intent, to be all over the world, in every country, and be lucrative at what we do. That's it. And I would hope for every man to consider ourselves to be great because we're all great. We're all born rich. Every man is born rich with potential. Every
Hmm.
man, every man born of a woman or woman is born rich. We're rich with potential. And I just stand on that. I'm as good or as great as my last set, or perhaps the thoughts that I'm thinking to create my next set. So rely on people to come along with their great ideas. And when they're pleased with what we've done, I'm happy. I'm thoroughly happy. Somebody says, oh man, it's exactly what we wanted. You know, there's a joy in that, beauty in this world, one fedora at a time. So that's what we are. And that's what I
One
do.
fedora at a time.
One fedora at a time, you did.
That.
That's it.
And I definitely want to thank you for confirming during this interview, as I was saying about addictive patterns. And I believe you have all three when we talk about the DNA because you got it from your parents, was passed down from generation to generation, as well as learned behavior. You seeing your parents style and put on this. You said your mom, she built on a closet, right? On
Exactly.
addition to the house. So literally DNA, learned behavior, and generational being passed down. And those are some addictive patterns. And of course, we talk about those things that could be negative as well as positive. And I appreciate you sharing them because we want to see and have more positive than negative. I appreciate Mr. 225 himself coming in and interviewing with us today.
And listen, I appreciate your platform. You know, you allow
Yes,
greatness because you're great. You know, happy to meet you, man. When you're starring role, and you were a star that day, you were a light that day, and you are a light today. You know, so I'm
thank
not
you
here.
so
I'm
much.
not here just simply because I was asked to be here. I'm here because there's a greatness that's in you. Saw that greatness the first time we met. There's a light. The killjoy about a light is everybody has not tapped into it. So I don't know what you've
Right.
gone through. You know, most often it's kind of like that Thomas Edison thing. Thomas Edison didn't invent the light. Somebody who shares your skin color did. Let's dig on that. But as it relates to this story, where he talks about it was 1,000 times that it took to get that thing right. Man, sometimes it's just like that, man, in our own personal life. That a
Hmm.
1,000 times of different things happening, good, bad, and different, the vicissitudes of life. And one day the light clicks on. And when it clicks on, it's
Exactly.
very rare. It is very, it can become dim, but it never goes out. So I'm speaking that to you. The light that I saw on you, it'll never go out. The vicissitudes of light may cause it to become dim sometimes, but your light will never go out. And that's got to be our wish for every man, that you wake up one day and that light goes off. And we just be lights for this world forever, man. You did? And
Right.
that's it.
Right. I,
Well, thank you
I
for having me.
definitely, yes, and I definitely appreciate those positive and encouraging words. And for our listeners, hopefully you all have gotten something out of today's session because I definitely have. And take those things for yourself, even though some of them were directed towards me, but put it on yourself. And
Let's
hey,
go.
let's believe.
Let's
Only if you
believe.
believe.
What do you
All
believe?
right. Well,
Let's
thank
believe.
you all for listening and tuning in. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to iHeartRadio, Spotify, and YouTube. Have a good one.
Thank you.